Welcome to the weekly poster roundup. We're talking about the posters from the week of the 12th of August up to the 18th, and we have a lot of really cool posters, a lot of them, so let's get cracking on these. Okay, we're going to start with Amber Alert. Now, this one is one of those where you have your floating heads at the top, done better than a lot of these floating heads ones, where, for one thing, I think the lighting's kind of cool. I mean, maybe a little bit inconsistent with the light source between the two sides, but I think that's okay. I think I still like the color scheme of it, and I do kind of like the way that they use their clothes and their bodies sort of to create this triangular frame that blends into sort of the central image that's being framed by the two characters. And it is a pretty interesting image there. We got a little girl with her teddy bear, and she's being picked up by a fancy car. You know, it's not particularly ambitious or anything like that, but I think it's pretty solid. And as far as these sort of cliched posters are concerned, I think it does look a little better than your average one. So I'm going to put that as a B. I imagine it's like a low B for me. Apartment 7A. From what I understand, this is a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, and it uses similar colors to the Rosemary's Baby's poster. Anybody who's seen that original poster will get the reference. I'm going to say that my one complaint here is with the title. The title is so kind of small compared to Buy It on Digital. Like, why does Buy It on Digital have to be so close in size to Apartment 7A? The title does not stand out in the slightest. You would see this and it takes your eye a second to figure out what the title of this movie is. I feel like there's a bit of a balance issue with the white text. It's like a high B, low A situation, but I do think it's like a good poster, and I think it's visually really striking, and I like it. Yep. All right, this is another Blink Twice poster, or is it Don't Blink Twice? No, it's called Blink Twice. This one's really tough, right? Because from an artistic standpoint, I can see a lot of value here. It is ambitious in a sense because the title is written in Braille, but unless this poster is situated on like a website, for instance, where you already know what the movie is, it's virtually impossible to know what movie this is for. Unless you can read Braille. Most people who read Braille are going to be blind and won't be able to appreciate the poster. Anyway, I think that puts me in like a tough situation to like rank it, just because I think visually it's pretty striking and it's a really cool concept to have it written in Braille. But I think to get into the upper echelons of really great poster design, artistically you have to be ambitious, you have to do something creative and really cool, and you have to be like kind of visually pleasing or appealing in some way or intriguing, but it's also a marketing tool, and that's important. And I think the best posters are able to coalesce those two things really well. I think this works more as a tool for visual artistry than for marketing. I think I'm also going to put this in B. A lot of B's to start off, but they went for something, it was bold, and they achieved it. It's just not particularly effective. I couldn't even remember what movie this was for at the start of the segment. Bonhoeffer, pastor, spy, assassin. Is that meant to be Hitler? I think the mustache is like thicker than Hitler's, so I don't know. I'm not that well versed in Second World War history. Yeah, like this is pretty cool. This sort of reminds me of like this is cool. I like the grayscale with the dark ruby red color scheme. It is a little bit of like a cliched poster though. We get our main character kind of standing in the foreground and then a couple of floating heads in the background, even though they're like framed in like interesting ways. Like I think this is like a generic poster, but there is kind of some thought put behind it. I think I'm going to put it as like a high C. Booger. Okay, this one I'm excited to talk about because I saw this poster. I thought this was really cool, really interesting. It's sort of like a pattern of the same faces being replicated over and over. Booger, it's like mucus and has to do with the nose, and the fact that it's her nose that is covering the O. That's a really nice touch. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's done with a similar pattern from what we saw last week with Trap. The collage in the background then mixed with the solid colors of the title. I think that's really solid, and I like how the title is the same sort of color as the cat's eye. Obviously, the cat is important to this. In fact, it's very consistently colored throughout. And I think there's just like a really nice balance and harmony throughout the poster. Otherwise, this is a really cool poster. It's an A. I found that on IMDb, they actually have a different poster, and I couldn't find out when it was released. So I thought I'm going to review it today. I found it really awesome. This is the poster here. This is so cool. So obviously this movie has some really great artists working on their posters, because this is just so freaking awesome. It's like this instantly sends me to like body horror vibes. Like it does seem like it's actually painted for this poster. Looks really nice. Shows us our protagonist on this solid kind of reddish orange background. We get this hand drawn on like a marker title. I think that's really cool. That's really clever. It looks like it was written by like a kid or something. Something about it just really stands out to me. And just obviously the fact that a cat's just pouring out of her mouth, I think is just like, that's an image that doesn't quite leave you for some time. So I am in love with this poster. I think this one's really cool. I'm going to put that as an S tier. Continue. Okay, so this one has a small play on a pretty typical poster style, which is just the extreme close-up of the protagonist's face. But this one is kind of split in the middle. We get her in like a very glamorous, well made up phase, and it's brightly lit on one side, and on the other side we get it kind of dimmer, and we have her makeup kind of ruined. I'm assuming it's kind of like sci-fi just because of the colors. Light blue and white often screams sci-fi, like those are the colors of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, for instance. And also this font here, the Cont, that just gives me sci-fi vibes. Just my one thing against it is just that I don't like it that much. It's an interesting poster design, but it just really doesn't appeal to me personally. It just looks a little cheap. Like, it's definitely not a D. To someone else's eyes, this could easily be like a solid B. I don't find it aesthetically all that pleasing, and it doesn't seem like it's that bold artistically. It's like a cool concept, but it's not like anything groundbreaking. Jackpot. Okay, well, thank God we get this poster, because the last Jackpot poster I reviewed was absolutely awful. That was like a clear D. This one is a lot more fun. It's a lot more vibrant. I guess the last one was vibrant, but in all the wrong ways. This one, it does seem like it's a movie from the 70s. It's like a throwback, but it's a throwback that I like, and I think the general composition is like well done and well thought. We do get that modern twist with the drone there. I just really like the design of Awkwafina. Like, knowing who Awkwafina is and what she looks like, I just find her drawing really fun. I really like this poster. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna put it in A. All right, Sleep. Now this is another really, really cool poster. I really love how the title gets, the letters get smaller and smaller there, because it does sort of emulate a little bit how you go to sleep. You just kind of doze off. And we got our central image here, which has a really nice color balance to it. We get the bed here, which has warm colors, orange and brown, and then we get his robe, which is in blue, and it gets sort of darker at the top here with her gray suit. So I think that all of that's really, really well thought out. I like how the blue of the robe is then replicated in the names of the actors, as well as the logos at the top. I'm thinking about S, but maybe for now I'm going to put it as like a high A. Yeah, this one I don't like at all. Okay, well, let's talk positives. We get this sort of like interesting frame here with the K, I guess, for Kraven, right? And it forms like a diamond shape. I think like that's like a fairly good idea. He's pretty well lit. He's got these like really bright golden eyes, and that looks really nice. But it does, one of the things that I really hate from posters is when it just repeats the same character. One in like a floating head, the other him doing some activity. In this case, he's just sitting on a throne. I feel like this poster would have looked so much better if we just removed him. If we just removed our central image here and we got him sitting down and all that overhead space. This tagline here, I feel like they just didn't know where to put it, so they just popped it there in the middle. It's just like kind of weird spacing all around. So, I don't know. I guess you can say pretty cool colors. We get the sort of the gold, we get the dark red, we get the blue. There's like a nice balance there. But quite honestly, this is a pretty ugly poster. I'm gonna put it in D. Okay, Notice to Quit. This one's really cute because this is also, or is this a photo? I can't tell if these are photos or drawn. I think this is a photo, but there's like kind of an illustrated vibe to it. I can't tell if they're illustrated or if they just put like a filter on them. These I'm assuming are illustrated, but I don't know. Maybe they actually took a photo on top of these fans. But I think it's just a really nice concept. On the hottest day in New York, Andy and Anna don't have time to sweat. I think that this is a really sweet logo, and I really like the frame and sort of like the off-white background. Given that all these fans are also sort of gray, off-white, etc., they kind of occupy the same color scheme. Having him sort of have these like sort of dark red tones on him, that really works well with the frame and the title. This is like a really solid, sweet, simple poster. I actually really enjoy this one. I'm going to put it up in B. Omni Loop. Well, this one has a similar thing to Booger. We have our repeated characters, and it also reminds me of like They Cloned Tyrone, which was another sci-fi movie that also does like sort of an infinite loop thing. And I can see why they do it here. The fact that they use the frames to write out the critic quotes, I think that's like a really nice idea. I don't have any like big complaints with it. I don't particularly love it, and I think one of the reasons is, I don't know, maybe just the gray to white gradient at the background, with the light blue circles and the colors of their clothes. I don't know if they all gel that well together. Having the repeated characters risks it looking a bit messy and busy. And I think Booger does a good job at having that repeated same sort of motif, but it's really simple. They Cloned Tyrone from last year is also a really simple design, because the repeatedness of the poster contrasts with the simplicity of the rest of it. This one, on the other hand, I think is busy. I think it is a B, but I think I'm gonna put it at like a low B. It's like a low B, high C, but I'm gonna give it a B because it does really fit its genre, and it is trying to do something interesting. I just think the execution's lacking. All right, Saturday Night. This is the one that I was mentioning that kind of has that 70s vibe, and it's like drawn as well. This one makes me want to put the last one lower because this one is really fun. The way that he's carrying all of these characters. He's carrying like a bag of trash, and the bag of trash is all of these distinct characters. And the more you look at it, the more you fall in love with it. We get Abraham Lincoln here. Obviously, this is about Saturday Night Live, so a lot of these are like skits and stuff. But it's just wonderfully composed, I think. We get this shark at the top. We get this great character with the phone here. The fact that he's balancing everything, and he himself is kind of balancing on that little platform there. I think that the text forming a little block here in the middle of the negative space, I think is solid. The revolution begins at 11:30, utilizing the other corner. I really love this one, quite honestly. And it makes me want to put the other one lower because they both go for similar things, but this one is just far more interesting to me. Okay, I'm just gonna pop that in S. It is one tier higher than the Jackpot one. I normally don't do posters that are like D-Box or IMAX or anything like that, but because I shat so hard on Transformers in the other video where I just gave both Transformers posters Ds, this one it's also like a throwback poster kind of. It's just so much cooler. This is like artistically so great to look at. Instantly eye-catching. It's not generic. It's like obviously a throwback to the original Transformers. I love the colors. I wish that this had been like their primary poster or their primary selling point, because the other ones are so dull and generic. And this one, though it doesn't necessarily tell you what the animation style is going to be, it's just more artistically captivating to me. I really like that one horizontal line there just to highlight the D-Box there. It's just really well designed. This one's an A as well. Wally Jackson and the Probability of Love and Car Accidents. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little hard to read, and I feel like I've sort of seen this before. This really looks like a book cover. I see what it's going for. It's kind of unique in that way, and we get the titular car accident at the top there. There's just something about this that makes it seem like it's going to be a cheap rom-com, you know? So I might just put that in in C. Woman of the Hour. Now this is another really cool poster. I really love this one. I feel like just orange and white isn't like a color scheme that you get that often. You get this really pretty logo. You get in the center there, you get in her eye a heart, and like there's a whole world inside her eye there because this is about a dating game. In 1978, a serial killer appeared on live TV as a bachelor on the dating game. The only people suspected were the women he pursued. It gives you thriller vibes, and it does it in like an unconventional way. And you give that an A as well. Maybe I'll put that above Jackpot there. And yeah, that is everything for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments what poster you liked the most.